The WNBA Players Association just made one of the biggest tactical blunders in professional sports negotiation history, and it all started with a single Instagram story that tagged Adam Silver directly during active collective bargaining talks. What happened next exposed something far more damaging than a salary dispute. It revealed a pattern of organizational chaos that's now threatening the entire future of the league.
Adam Silver has caused quite a stir in WNBA world because he just went on the Today Show and he was talking about the WNBA CBA, and here's what he had to say. He said, "I think share isn't the right way to look at it because there's so much more revenue in this cycle of collective bargaining, and they deserve it." So what he's talking about here is the revenue share that the players have been fighting for. So essentially what the players have said in these negotiations is that they want to be paid more when it comes to their salary, but they also want a higher percentage of the revenue split because currently they are only getting 9% of that revenue split. But we have went over it a million times, you guys. The structure of the WNBA, the finances in the WNBA, and the structure of the finances in the
Adam Silver appeared on the Today Show to discuss WNBA collective bargaining negotiations. The players wanted two things: higher salaries and a bigger slice of league revenue. Currently, WNBA players receive about 9% of total league revenue compared to the NBA's 50% split with its players. Silver's response was measured but firm. He acknowledged the players deserved more money, but he pushed back hard on the percentage comparison. His exact words matter here. Silver said comparing revenue share percentages between the two leagues wasn't the right approach because the NBA generates vastly more total revenue. He emphasized looking at absolute dollar amounts instead of percentages, promising players would see significant raises in the new collective bargaining agreement cycle. On the surface, that sounds reasonable. Players get more money. Everyone moves forward. But the WNBA Players Association heard something completely different. They heard dismissal, they heard condescension, and instead of responding through proper negotiation channels, they did something absolutely wild. The official WNBA Players Association Instagram account posted a story, not from a rogue intern, not from an angry player's personal account. The actual union's verified account posted a screenshot from Silver's interview with the caption, "Don't want to share, Adam Silver," and they tagged him directly. Think about that for a second. During active labor negotiations worth hundreds of millions of dollars, the Players Union decided to publicly call out the commissioner of the league that literally funds their entire operation. On Instagram, with a sarcastic caption, "If you believe professional organizations should handle billion-dollar negotiations like adults instead of teenagers having beef on social media, hit that like button right now, because what comes next gets even messier." Here's what makes this situation so uniquely catastrophic. The WNBA doesn't operate like a normal professional sports league. Most people don't realize the WNBA doesn't even fully control its own destiny. The league owns just 42% of its own operations. The NBA owns another 40%, and the remaining 18% belongs to outside investors who came in back in 2022. When the WNBA was desperately seeking funding to stay operational. That ownership structure means Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, doesn't have unilateral authority to just give players whatever they want. Even if she personally agreed with every demand, she'd still need approval from the NBA and those outside investors. Adam Silver isn't just some guy offering opinions from the sidelines. He literally controls the money keeping the lights on. So when the Players Association decided to publicly embarrass him on social media during negotiations, they weren't just being unprofessional. They were actively sabotaging their own bargaining position by antagonizing the one person who could actually approve their raise. The backlash was immediate and brutal. The league itself issued a response calling the union's statement misleading. They revealed the WNBA had already offered an uncapped revenue-sharing plan tied directly to league growth. Translation: "We already gave you a path to more money. You just didn't read the fine print before running to Instagram." That detail is crucial because it completely reframes the narrative. The Players Association wasn't fighting against a league refusing to share revenue. They were fighting against a revenue-sharing structure they apparently didn't fully understand or didn't like the terms of. And instead of hammering out those details privately at the negotiating table, they chose public confrontation. Multiple analysts and former players started pointing out just how strategically incompetent this move was. One veteran sports labor negotiator said, "Going public like this during active talks is basically negotiation suicide. You lose leverage, you look unprofessional, and you give the other side ammunition to paint you as unreasonable." But here's where the Caitlin Clark factor becomes impossible to ignore. The entire reason this negotiation is even happening right now, with players feeling emboldened enough to demand more, is because of what Clark accomplished this season. She filled arenas, she broke ratings records, she made the WNBA relevant in a way it hadn't been in years. Every single data point the Players Association uses to argue they deserve more money traces directly back to Caitlin Clark's impact. Without her, there's no conversation about massive media deal increases. There's no discussion about unprecedented sponsor interest. There's no argument that the league has suddenly become more valuable. Clark's success gave the players the leverage to even ask for more, and now they're using that leverage in the most self-destructive way possible. The timing makes it even worse. The current collective bargaining agreement deadline hits on Halloween. That gives both sides less than a month to reach a deal. If they don't, the WNBA could face its first ever lockout, games canceled, season delayed, sponsors pulling out, all the momentum Clark built over the past year evaporating in a labor dispute that started with an Instagram story. Fans are absolutely roasting the Players Association online. One comment captured it perfectly. They're negotiating a $100 million deal like it's a Twitter beef. Another wrote, "Imagine your union rep tagging your boss during salary negotiations and thinking that helps." But beyond the jokes, there's a real sense of frustration from people who actually want to see the WNBA succeed. Many of you have been saying this for weeks. The league finally has mainstream attention, real star power, and legitimate growth potential. And the Players Union is squandering it by acting like social media activists instead of professional negotiators. Reading between the lines of what's happening here reveals something deeper. This isn't just about money, it's about respect, controls, and power dynamics that have been simmering for years. The players feel undervalued and dismissed. League leadership feels attacked and undermined. And Adam Silver is caught in the middle, trying to justify continued NBA financial support for a league that can't seem to get out of its own way. The question everyone's asking now, did this Instagram moment just cost WNBA players millions of dollars in their next contract? Let me show you exactly how this situation escalated, because the full context makes it even more absurd. Drop a comment below telling me if you think the Players Association should fire their social media manager, because this gets wild. So Adam Silver goes on national television and tries to manage expectations. He's essentially saying, look, the WNBA players will get more money. They deserve more money. But comparing percentages between two leagues with completely different revenue structures doesn't make sense. It's a diplomatic way of saying the math doesn't work the way you think it does. The Players Association could have responded in dozens of strategic ways. They could have released a detailed statement breaking down their position. They could have arranged their own media appearances to present their case. They could have leveraged their momentum from the Caitlin Clark effect to build public support through actual substantive arguments. Instead, they chose chaos. And here's what makes it absolutely baffling. The union has professional negotiators. They have advisors. They have lawyers who specialize in collective bargaining. Somebody in that organization had to approve posting that Instagram story, which means this wasn't an accident or a rogue employee. This was an intentional strategic decision. Listen to how measured and reasonable Adam Silver sounds when he discusses this topic. He's not attacking anyone. He's not being dismissive. He's making a straightforward economic argument about revenue structures. The man is literally explaining why the players will get more money. And the union's response is to basically say, "We call BS," on Instagram. What were they expecting to accomplish? Did they think Adam Silver would see the post and suddenly reverse his position? Did they think public embarrassment would somehow strengthen their negotiating leverage? Because in the real world of labor negotiations, all they did was hand the league ammunition to paint them as unprofessional and unreasonable. The league's response was swift and calculated. They released a statement saying the union's characterization was misleading and that a comprehensive revenue-sharing proposal had already been presented. That statement did two things. First, it made the Players Association look uninformed about their own negotiations. Second, it shifted the narrative from "greedy league won't share" to "players' union doesn't understand the offer on the table."
Solution is. Now, in true WNBPA fashion, they decided to clap back on their Instagram account to Adam Silver's remarks, and they posted this. They said, "Don't want to share at Adam Silver." So they literally tagged Adam Silver, used a screenshot from this interview, and posted this in their Instagram story. You guys, I do not know what they think doing that will accomplish. You know how there's that meme where it's like 0 days of whatever? It's like 0 days of
professional? Nope. Entertaining? Absolutely.
Was like, "We call BS and we see you." It's like, I don't understand what posting this does besides stir up more drama. And people are like, "Ooh, look at them." Look, it's like, no, we're acting like children. Should be acting like a professional organization. You have to work out these things at the negotiating table, not on social media. Like, this is so childish to me. And when I saw this, it just reminded me of how draining it is sometimes to cover this league, because it's like seriously,
Multiple commentators have pointed out how exhausting this pattern has become. The WNBA finally has real momentum, real stars, real opportunities, and the organizational drama keeps getting in the way. Fans want to focus on the basketball. They want to celebrate the growth. But instead, they're watching a professional sports union behave like it's running a Stan account. And here's the thing that makes this situation so frustrating for everyone involved. The players actually have legitimate grievances. They genuinely are underpaid relative to the value they create. The revenue-sharing structure genuinely could be more favorable. They have real arguments worth making. But when you lead with Instagram snark instead of substantive negotiation, you undermine those legitimate points. Let's connect the dots on what's really happening behind the scenes. Kathy Engelbert is in an impossible position. She's trying to prove she can run the WNBA independently and grow it into a sustainable business. But she's also caught between angry players who want more money and NBA ownership that's been subsidizing the league for years without seeing profits. Adam Silver wants this resolved quietly. He doesn't want another NBA-level lockout drama on his record, especially not over a league that still operates at a loss. He wants a modest raise, some positive headlines about progress, and everyone moving forward. That's why his Today Show appearance was so carefully worded. He was trying to manage expectations while still sounding supportive, but the Players Association apparently decided they'd rather fight than negotiate. And fighting publicly during contract talks is almost always a losing strategy. You know who doesn't respect Instagram callouts? The people writing the checks? The owners, investors, and executives who control league finances aren't scrolling social media looking for inspiration. They're looking at spreadsheets, revenue projections, and risk assessments. When they see a players' union publicly attacking the commissioner who controls their funding, they don't think, "Wow, these players are standing up for themselves." They think, "These players are a liability who might take this dispute public at any moment." That makes them less willing to offer favorable terms, not more. The Halloween deadline is approaching fast, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If negotiations break down, we're looking at the WNBA's first ever lockout. That means no games, no season, no paychecks for anyone. All the momentum from Caitlin Clark's historic season evaporates. Sponsors who just started paying attention will disappear. Fans who finally tuned in will move on to other sports. And for what? Because the union decided to clap back on Instagram instead of doing the hard work of actual negotiation. The irony is painful. The same player who saved the league and gave everyone leverage to negotiate might now be watching that leverage get completely wasted through organizational incompetence. Multiple sources are whispering about internal dysfunction within the Players Association leadership. Not officially confirmed, but the breadcrumbs lead to serious questions about who's actually making strategic decisions and whether they understand high-stakes labor negotiations. When your public strategy is tag the commissioner in our Instagram story, something is fundamentally broken in your approach. Here's the bottom line. The WNBA players deserve better compensation. The league does need more equitable revenue sharing. Those are valid goals worth fighting for. But fighting smart means understanding leverage, timing, and professional conduct. It means building public support through substance, not social media drama. It means treating a $100 million negotiation like the serious business it is. Instead, the Players Association chose to make Adam Silver look like the reasonable adult in the room while they came across as impulsive and unprofessional. That's not a winning strategy. That's self-sabotage with a social media twist. The next few weeks will determine the WNBA's future. Either cooler heads prevail and a deal gets done, or we're heading toward a lockout that could undo everything Caitlin Clark and this season accomplished. And it all traces back to one Instagram story that should never have been posted. So, what do you think? Did the Players Association just blow their best chance at a fair deal? Should they fire whoever approved that post? And can Kathy Engelbert salvage this mess before Halloween? Smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, because we'll be covering every twist in this saga. The WNBA's make or break moment is happening right now, and you don't want to miss what comes next. The league's walking a tightrope, and the fall could be catastrophic. We'll see if they make it to the other side, or if this Instagram moment becomes the defining mistake that cost everyone everything.